getting flat cells or colloidal cells? You need time to process stuff through the cells. So this is pretty much the same thing. You have the mucosa, submucosa, and the muscularis right here. Same thing. Look here, mucosa, submucosa here in blue and green, whatever it is, and then the muscularis. Remember that other than the stomach, everybody else only gets 2 layers of muscle. The stomach gets 3. Everybody else gets 2. Now, in every single one of these wavy stuff, what are you gonna have? Blood vessels. You need to have an artery bringing munchies to the intestine, because the intestine needs to work and needs munchies. And you're also gonna have a vein. The little veins are gonna take whatever junk you absorb from McDonald's, and it's gonna send it where? To the systemic circulation or to the liver?
The liver.
Huh? To the liver, through the portal circulation, exactly. Super important. And then the liver is gonna do the business. Provides a vehicle for absorption of substances from chyme as they come in contact with the microvilli, the brush water enzymes. Father absorb microvilli absorbs right down the food. Okay, great. And wavy stuff. More absorption area. That's what it's all about. And look at it with a microscope. This is a regular microscope like the ones we have here. And this is a microvilli with an electron microscope. Super cute stuff. Now, we have a mechanical digestion, moving the stuff through the intestine. And they have the segmentation where they're gonna get a piece of munchies stuck in one place, and then that place, that segment is gonna keep going. And then you have the peristalsis, which is the pushing. So remember, 2 layers of muscle: squeeze, push, squeeze, push, squeeze, push. You remember all those months ago when you took Anatomy 1, on the very first chapter of Anatomy 1, that I sat down and I told you first the quadrants, and then I told you the tic-tac-toe. You remember the tic-tac-toe, right? Now, tic-tac-toe is important because this is how we examine the abdomen. So, remember that the medical exam it starts with the inspection, then you do the palpation, then the percussion, and then the auscultation with the stethoscope. This order is going to vary with the abdomen. With the abdomen, you have to do first inspection, then auscultation, and then you do palpation, and then the percussion. The reason we do this is that we do the auscultation first is because the palpation and the percussion are going to vary the sounds of the peristalsis. So you're not going to get an accurate peristaltic wave sound out of the auscultation. So that's why we do the auscultation first. Now, what else? So we have to do the chemical digestion inside the GI tract, the small intestine. So what happens? There's a cute graphic here somewhere. There it is. I love that graphic. That's like the coolest graphic in the world. And it tells you what happens with the simple carbohydrates, with the monosaccharides, and what happens with the proteins and the amino acids, and what happens with the fats. So, we eat polysaccharides. We eat starch, we eat glycogen, and we eat starch. They call it cellulose. The amylase from the pancreas, and a little bit the one from the saliva, but mostly the one from the pancreas, are going to break down the polysaccharides into the smaller units. Within the intestine, you're going to have enzymes secreted into the lumen of the intestine that are going to break the disaccharides into monosaccharides. So we have the lactase that is going to break down the lactose into galactose and glucose, And then you're gonna have another enzyme that is gonna break the sucrose into fructose and what was the other one? And glucose. Now, the fructose, the glucose, and the galactose are going to be absorbed. These guys from secondary transfer, these are facilitators. I don't care about how they go in. No big deal. What's going to happen? These guys are going to go into the intestine, into the intestinal columnar cells. And within the intestinal columnar cells then, some of it is going to happen here, some of it is going to happen in the liver because all these people are going to the liver. What's going to happen? Remember, your cells only speak glucose. So, the fructose and the galactose, they must be turned into glucose, because otherwise you won't be able to do glycolysis or Krebs cycle or electron transfer chain with them. You need to turn them into glucose. Number two, the proteins. Same thing. Your pancreas producing, both the pancreas and the stomach, they produce proteases that are going to break down the protein. So you're going to go from big proteins to polypeptides to dipeptides to tripeptides, and then finally to an amino acid, which is the simplest, the smallest unit of a protein. We are required to include in our diet what we call the essential amino acids. Not only we need them to build stuff with them, there's a bunch of chemical reactions that depend on these amino acids, so we have to eat them. The best example is the production of melanin by the skin. There's an amino acid that is needed to produce melanin, and there's an autosomic recessive disease where these people, these children, they don't process the amino acids, so they don't make melanin. What disease is that? Albinism, exactly. They're paying attention. Good. Now witness the firepower. Now, the good old lipids are a little funny. The long-chain fatty acids and the monoglycerides. Number one, in order for you to process this stuff, remember that the intestine is filled mostly with watery stuff, with hydrophilic stuff. So the fat is going to be like, so what's going to happen? The bile that comes out of your liver is going to turn your fatty stuff into a micelle. You know when you mix water with oil and you see that the oil is always going to form like a big bubble? That's a micelle. And what happens is that you make these tiny little micelles, and that's how they're able to go inside the intestine with all the other stuff. So they go through simple diffusion into the intestine, but what happens? This is going to be turned into a triglyceride, and then the triglyceride is going to be put inside of what we call a kilomicron. A kilomicron is one of the lipoproteins. The HDL and the LDL, those are lipoproteins. The smallest one is the chylomicron. And the chylomicron, instead of being sent to the liver, is going to be absorbed by the columnar cells, and it's going to be sent into the lymphatic system. Super weird stuff. And it's going to go up the lymphatic through the thoracic duct, and then it's going to end up in your jugular veins, and then it's going to get into the systemic circulation, and eventually it's going to go into the liver. That's one of the reasons why eating greasy stuff, fatty stuff is not good for you. Because it goes straight into the circulation, you know, and it sits, it accumulates. So it's better to avoid it. Remember what I always told you. It doesn't matter what you eat. If you eat something in excess, it's going to eventually be turned into fat. Remember, you eat whatever glucose you need at that particular moment, you use it, and the excess we're going to turn it into glycogen, and then the excess of that we're going to turn it into triglycerides, and we're going to store it into adipocytes. Fun, fun, fun. That's how we get fat. So, it doesn't matter if it's protein, it doesn't matter if it's anything, it's all the same. Now, the other one I was going to tell you about that? That's a cute graphic too, where it shows you the lipids. Look at the lipids going into the lacteals. The lacteals are like small lymphatic vessels inside the intestine, and they go whoop into the thoracic duct, and then they go into the subclavian, and they get into the circulation. Everybody's happy. And the other guys are going to go into the portal system, and then they're going to be processed by your liver. Listen, the water business. We have to drink water. There's no way around that. Remember that most of your weight is water, so you have to keep that water constant. And we lose water. When the chapter right after the kidneys has to do with water balance, pH balance, and all that stuff. Most of the water you need, we have to take it. We have to drink it. Your body produces water. Every time you make ATP, one of the waste products of cellular respiration is water. But that's not enough. Your saliva has water, but that's not enough. You need to get water from the outside. So we take about what? 2.3 liters per day, which is nothing. We need more than that actually. And you produce 2.3 liters of gastric juices. Most of the water is going to be absorbed through the intestine. And a good chunk of it is also going to be absorbed through the large intestine. Now, one of the reasons why we need to drink a lot of water is not only because to keep ourselves hydrated. We have to also drink a lot of water so we can poop pasty, not hard. Hard is not good, right? Especially when you don't want to get colon cancer or hemorrhoids or any of that stuff. That's all there is to say about the intestine. Just a long tube. Now, let me give you an example of the digestion business and a disaccharide. The lactose is the most famous one. That a bunch of people have lactose intolerance and all that stuff. You have a patient. Under normal circumstances, you drink the milk, and the milk inside the lumen of your small intestine is going to come into, it's going to be broken down into lactose, and then the lactose, one of these cells is going to produce lactase, which is the enzyme that breaks down the disaccharide into 2 units, and then you absorb the 2 monosaccharides. When you have a patient with lactose intolerance, what happens to this patient?
They're not making lactase, right?
They don't make the lactase, exactly. And if you don't make the lactase, you don't break down the lactose. Now, remember what I've been telling you since day one. This is a natural process. This is not a disease. That's the way it is. Because we're not supposed to drink milk past age 5. Especially drink milk from another species. It's retarded. So, what happens? When you get a patient with lactose intolerance, a couple of things are going to go into play here. Number one, in the microbiology class, great, and resin. Have you guys played with bacteria, with the E. coli and lactose?
E. coli, not lactose.
You're going to have an experiment where you're going to do lactose fermentation. Really cute experiment. If you don't break down the lactose, the E. coli will break down the lactose. But the thing is that the E. coli is going to break down the lactose in the absence of oxygen. So what do we call that type of metabolism when the bacteria does something in the absence of oxygen? Anaerobic. So what is the name of the process? We do this whenever we... Sounds the letter F.
Fermentation.
Fermentation. Exactly. So what are the byproducts of fermentation? Number one, an acid. And then the pH of your intestine is going to go down, which is going to make you feel crappy. Number two, you produce a gas, so you're going to fart. No way around that. You got to fart. Number three, there's still going to be a lot of lactose in there, and the lactose is going to increase. Listen to this. This is the cutest thing in the world. It's going to increase oncotic pressure inside your intestine. So the intestine is going to pull more water into the lumen of the intestine, and your patient is going to get diarrhea. High fives.
I thought that flatulence meant that it was healthy, your GI tract was healthy.
Yes, of course. But the people with lactose intolerance, of course, you get the flatulence. That's normal. But these people are going to get more flatulence, and they're going to get bloating. You see, because you have these saccharide that the bacteria is trying to break. The bacteria is not efficient at doing this. When you take microbiology, you see that they put the bacteria either in the tube with the red cap, or they put it on the plate with the lactose, with the lactose, and they put it in the incubator for how long? 48 hours. So it's super inefficient. They're freaking retarded, you know. What else? Now, the large intestine. The good large intestine is the end of your GI tract. Number one, you have the ileum, which is the end of your small intestine. And then you're going to have a sphincter here called the ileocecal valve, or ileocecal sphincter. That stuff is always on the exam, one of those valves. So make sure that you be on the lookout for that on the practical. Now, you get into the munchies are going to go from the ileum into the large intestine. The first part of the large intestine down here is called the cecum, because it's a blind spot. It's a dead end. What do we have in the cecum? The vermiform appendix. Why do they call it vermiform? Because it looks like a worm. That's why they call it vermiform. Now, what is the function of the appendix? Give you appendicitis. That's it. For real. Now, the theory goes that 300,000 million years ago, when we were mammals walking on all fours, we used to eat grass, just like the cows. And that used to be the area where we broke down the cellulose. As we started walking up straight and we started eating more stuff other than grass, then that vault where you break down the cellulose, it started to get smaller until it turned into the appendix. So, what is the problem? That eventually the appendix is going to get a piece of poop or something here that is going to block it, and then the bacteria is going to start to reproduce, and the thing's going to swell until it ruptures, and then that's the end of the world. You get yourself a nice peritonitis. I know. No, and this is the worst part, is that nowadays in the United States of America, where people commit fraud to send their children to Ivy League schools, that's so freaking retarded.
Oh, I can't. I know.
Now, this is the thing. Did you see the video of her daughter saying that she only goes to college to party and have fun, that she doesn't give a shit about studying? That was the best part. I'm not going to charge you that much. I mean, if you want to pass my class, you don't have to pay me $4.5 million. I'll give you the A for $3.5 million. Right, Teresa? 3.5. Now, what else? So you go up, the colon. You have the ascending colon going up. Oh no, what I was telling you about the insurance companies is that insurance companies nowadays, they don't want to pay for the surgery unless the appendix ruptures. Otherwise, they won't pay for the surgery. And now they're even debating about not even paying for the surgery. Just treat the patient with antibiotics. No. They rather have you die than pay the benefits. I know. Now, the colon is going to go up through the ascending colon. Then you're going to have the hepatic flexure. Now, don't call it right, call it flexure on the exam. Call it hepatic flexure. Why is it called hepatic flexure here? This turn. Because what organ goes there? The liver. The liver, exactly. Then you have a transverse colon that is going to go from right to the left of your abdomen. And then you're going to have the splenic flexure because it's in relation to the spleen. And and then you're gonna have the good old descending colon, and then the descending colon is gonna end up in this part that looks like an S, which is the sigmoid colon. The sigmoid colon is the part of the colon where you make your poop, the feces. And then you're gonna have the end of the tube, which is the rectum, the anal canal, and the anus. Now, this projector, for whatever reason, it doesn't look good. You don't see the color very well. But here you have a clinical issue. You have these little veins. And these little veins, for genetics, because I got it because of my dad, some people get it because they have issues with the liver, and some people get it because they're just unlucky. Bleeding through those veins. And sometimes they bleed and they swell and they even come out of your butt. And they hurt like the end of the world. That happened to me one time. Last time I had these, what is that? Hemorrhoids. The last time I had these stuff, I had to go to the Colorectal Institute. And it's funny how these surgeons work in this country. I never saw the guy. He came at the very end just to tie up my butt. Before that, I was talking to a PA. And they took my money. Or I paid to talk to the PA. The guy just came in, oh yeah, thank you very much, come again. Dr. Patel or something like that. Nothing about people from India. Against people from India. Pretty, but. So, why did I have to go? Because my hemorrhoids got so bad that the bleeding was so nasty that my hemoglobin went down to 9, which is very low for a guy, you know? So, yeah. What else is good here? The sphincters. You have two sphincters. We've been talking about these forever. You have an external sphincter and an internal sphincter. The internal sphincter is involuntary. It's controlled by your autonomic nervous system. And the external sphincter is the one that you control. I gotta poop, but I have to hold it till I finish my class. You know? Now, the funny thing about these business, I think that I mentioned this before. I feel like I gotta go to the bathroom. Usually happens to me around this time, like around 2:30 or so when we're finishing the class. I go downstairs, I go to the bathroom, change into my exercise clothes, gonna get on my bicycle, and then I gotta poop. And then let me hold it till I get to Kaiser. Guess what? I hold it till I get to Kaiser. Why would that be?
You exercise.
Because I get into the exercise mode, the sympathetic mode, and then this whole thing shut down. Huh? Now, we have these Taenia coli, which are like layers of stuff just sitting there. You have the haustras, which are segmentations of the muscle that they push and crush the stuff. And you do a little bit of absorption of nutrients here, but mostly this business is about preparing the end, preparing the poop. Now, we have the bacteria. We have a good chunk of bacteria in the colon, and the bacteria in the colon is super important. It's going to help you breaking down amino acids and produce vitamins. What is the best example of the vitamin that is produced in the intestine, the large intestine, by the E. coli? Vitamin K. And this is why, when you get a baby, the first thing they have to do to the baby is give him a shot of vitamin K. Because the baby, since he hasn't eaten anything other than amniotic fluid, and he's inside the mommy in a completely sterile environment, the baby doesn't have any E. coli. So the baby's born, and the first thing you do when you receive that baby is giving a shot of vitamin K. Because that's an important cofactor in the business of coagulation. Absorption of water, ions, and vitamins. So sodium, potassium, and all that stuff is absorbed through here. And then how the peristalsis and mass peristalsis drive content of colon into the rectum and the sigmoid, and then you make the poop, and then you poop.
So wait, whenever you give the baby the shot of vitamin K, what exactly is that doing? It's producing E. coli?
No, man.
What
I
is
just
it?
told you.
How
The
did
vitamin.
it hear you?
Backward on the recording. is a cofactor in the coagulation cascade. One of you ladies who work with old people, the coumarin, what is it, warfarin, this is an inhibitor of the action of vitamin K. And then if you get a patient who overdoses himself or herself on warfarin, the coumarin, the antidote is an overdose of vitamin K, because they're antagonists. I asked them to let me teach pharmacology, but they didn't even respond to the email. And the funny thing is that I got a student in the summer. She was taking micro with me, and the last chapter of microbiology is the coolest one because it's about pharmacology. And this girl, you know that you can take pharmacology even after you finish nursing school. This girl was done. She was almost done with her nursing classes. And she was like, "Ben, you're playing the pharmacology better than the nurses." Like, yeah, I'm a doctor. Duh. But the nursing board and all that stuff, you know, bunch of bullshit. Same thing, serosa, the muscularis, mucosa. Here, you don't have so many wavy stuff because there's not as much absorption as before. You see, you get what you need. Here you have microvilla, you have goblet cells for the mucus, you know, cute stuff.
What do they do with this tumor? Just take out...
That's not a stomach, man. That's a colon.
No, this is tumor.
No, that's...
A tumor.
Oh, that tumor.
Yeah.
That's Perez topic right there. Where is it?
Yeah, you just pass it.
Where?
No, yeah, pass it. No,
Where?
No,
There.
Right there. That's Perez topic right there, right? Colon cancer right there. There's a picture, man. Now, listen. We're eating whatever we're not supposed to eat. That's why we're getting more and more cancer every day. This used to be a thing of old farts, you know, people in their 50s and 60s. Now you're getting more and more younger people with colon cancer. What is this? The consequence of eating a lot of starch. That's what the whole thing is all about. If you had a good diet with a bunch of spinach, you wouldn't get any of this stuff. And of course, the whole thing is genetics. You know? So, yeah. Now, what is the name of that study?
Oh, yeah, never mind. Colonoscopy.
That's a colonoscopy, exactly. That's a colonoscopy. The one they do through the mouth is the endoscopy, and then the other one is the colonoscopy. La 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 la. Peristalsis, mass peristalsis. Now, absorption. The colon absorbs water, electrolytes, and vitamins. The feces, water, inorganic salts, shred off epithelial cells that you shred when the stuff is going down and where they're constantly doing mitosis, bacteria, bacterial decomposition, and undigested munchies. And then at the end, when the thing gets filled with poop, it creates the reflex. I gotta poop. You know? And then you go and poop and everybody's happy. Come on, we all poop. I don't know why you laugh. Oh, that's right. And it doesn't smell. Whenever they poop, it doesn't smell. Like roses. I was dating a girl one time, and for whatever reason, I opened the bathroom, and she was sitting pooping, and she felt so embarrassed. I closed the door. Like, man, everybody poops. What's the big freaking deal? Cephalic, gastric, intestinals. I don't even think I guys any of that stuff. Gastrin, secretin. Now, you see, I told you we're going to be done by tomorrow. I don't have to go pick up their office. She doesn't have school tomorrow, so yeah, she's going to spring break. And she's going to Universal Studios on Wednesday with boyfriend.
The Puerto Rican?
Yeah. No, man, I'm not going. I have to work. Yeah. They're going the same day. I don't get it. They have an annual class, so they're leaving Wednesday morning and they're coming back Wednesday night.
They're grabbing 3 hours and then grabbing out.
Exactly. And then they have how many rides are they going to ride? Like 1? 2 lines? Freaking retarded. But anyway.
Can't do it.
Anyway, one thing interesting about the development of the GI tract. During development, the GI tract does something very interesting. The GI tract is gonna go, you're gonna have a hole here. The thing's gonna go out of the baby. It's gonna turn back in. Then it's gonna do a weird rotation. The stomach is gonna end up here, the liver is gonna end up here. Now, if, you say you're going to X-ray, Alonji?
Yeah.
If you ever find yourself, let's say that you get into the X-ray and then you do the CT scan thing and you find some weirdo with the liver on this side and the stomach on this side, do not freak out. There's some people out there like that. The same thing, you do the chest CT scan and you have the heart on the right side of the chest. Don't scream. It's fine. They call that situs inversus. And then the right side, the heart on the right side, they call it dextrocardia. It happens once every 3,000 million people. So weird is going to happen. Oh man. They just okay. Now, let's talk about the old parts. Because now, living with my mother has become a religious experience. It is amazing. I'm learning, I'm doing my PhD in geriatrics nowadays. Now, number one, they lose the ability to do all this stuff. So what's going on with my mom? I'm not hungry. Mom, you gotta eat. Okay, I forgot to have breakfast. Oh, but I don't want to eat. I don't feel hungry. And then she's like, my stomach is bugging me because you haven't had anything to eat, Mom. Yeah, but eat. Yeah, but I'm not hungry. Coño, eat, carajo. So she eats. Great. And then she eats like 20 hours later because she's not hungry. Now, you work at a nursing home, you said?
No.
I help her. Same thing. All parts. That's what they have. So what is the problem with the all parts in the nursing home? The all parts in the nursing home, just like every all part living somewhere, because I'm very sure that your grandmother is the same way. Your great grandmother, whatever it is, we lose like track of the generations.
She's going to be a great grandma, actually.
My grandmother got to that point. Yeah. Now, what happens to the ovary if the ovary doesn't eat? What is the complication of not eating?
Stomach acid buildup?
Everything.
Wow.
Nutrients.
Love you, man. Exactly. The bacteria inside the intestines is going to get bored. They're going to start having babies. You know, what do you do when you don't have a TV? Have more sex. Yeah, we're saying you're with your boyfriend. He's not in Colorado.
I read a book.
Come on. You just have more sex. Please. You're going to have a breakup with your boyfriends there. So, they make more little bacteria. And the bacteria starts getting into the bloodstream, and then you're going to have the ovary with pneumonia caused by E. coli, some shit like that. Super nasty situation. And you have to remember that because they're ovaries, the immune system is not working well. You have the change of neurocirculatory feedback and response to pain or whatever. Now, let's talk about diseases. Tooth decay, I don't care about that. Periodontal, I don't even know what periodontal disease is all about. I don't want to know. The ulcer business. I told you about the case of the ulcer with the medication. What medication was it?
Aspirin.
The NSAIDs, exactly. The non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. That's one group of patients that are going to get ulcers. There's another group of patients that are going to get ulcers. People your age are going to get ulcers. You're going to get Camacho here, that she is having gastritis after gastritis, and episodes of gastritis, and more gastritis, and it's a pain in the butt. She goes to the doctor. She tells the doctor, I'm having gastritis.
Stress.
That's one reason. But once we determine that she doesn't have stress because she's a very stress-handling individual, we determine that she may have something else. What in your age group? what causes the ulcers? A bacteria. And a lot of people have this bacteria living in their...
Helicobacter pylori.
That one, you miss a lot. Yeah, the H. pylori, the Helicobacter pylori. Now, this bacteria lives in the stomach and duodenum of a bunch of people. And what happens is that the bacteria starts acting out. During the acting out business, they eat the mucus away, and the stomach is and the duodenum are exposed to the acid. And you get the ulcers. Now, if the doctor you go to is one of these doctors that they just want to make money, they're going to send you in for an endoscopy. Because, you know, you got to make money, right? But if this guy is conscious and knows that you don't have insurance or they don't want to milk your insurance that bad, they do the breath test. The breath test is very effective. They have the Quest has the little kits that it comes with 2 bags and a little thing that you drink. So the first little bag, you fill it up, you tie, close it, tie, shut, great. Then you drink the fluid, you wait 5 minutes and have the patient blow into the bag again, and then close it. And send both bags to the lab. And the bags are going to find, what is it, urea or, I don't remember, ammonia. I don't remember exactly what this thing produces. This bacteria produces that. That's one of their waste products, the metabolic waste products. And you find that on the breath test. So what do you do with a patient with a positive H. pylori test? Easy. 2 antibiotics, 1 proton pump inhibitor like omeprazole or Nexium or something like that. So you do 2 antibiotics that they have different mechanisms of action because the bacteria is resistant to a bunch of stuff. And you give them the PPI to alleviate the pain from the acid. And they do that treatment for 14 days. The treatment most of the times works. However, you can find patients that they have a resistant strain of the H. pylori. So that's the story of the ulcers. And then the rest of the people with ulcers is because they take the NSAIDs. The diverticuli. Let me go back to the thing here to show you what a diverticuli is. Because I don't show you that here. The diverticuli is an out pouch that is going to go here. It's like a little bag, like a little balloon that forms from the wall of the intestine, of the large intestine, outward into the peritoneal cavity. And what's the problem with that? That the poop is gonna sit there and it's not gonna move, and the bacteria is gonna have a party in there, and that's painful, and eventually it can actually rupture. So not good. The what?
Ain't no part like a bacteria part.
Exactly. No, they're party animal, literally. Tumors. We have tumors of the esophagus. Super, super nasty cancer, because by the time you find this cancer, the patient is like gone.
Stage 4. When you find it?
Or 9 or something like that. Or 20. Yeah. Then you have cancer of the stomach, very popular in Japan for whatever reason. I still haven't figured out why. But now in Japan, everybody gets an endoscopy as part of their checkup every so often, because it's very, very common in Japan. I never heard of a tumor of the small intestine, but you do get a lot of colon cancer. Super, super common, the colon cancer. It's right there with the pancreatic cancer. The first one is skin cancer. That's the most common cancer of them all. Then you have lung cancer. Then for you ladies, you have the breast cancer. We get the prostate. And then you get pancreatic and colon cancer. They're right there.
Is that in the world? Like in the U.S.?
In the United States. In the United States. What else? Who else gets a tumor? You get pancreatic cancer. Super, super nasty also. By the time you find the cancer, the patient is halfway there. I had a few people that I met in my life. A co-worker, a lady from my university, and the husband of my first cousin. They all died of pancreatic cancer. It doesn't play around with cancer. Hepatitis, A, B, C, D, E. A and E are fecal oral route. The other thing is that these guys are going to give you acute diseases. I forgot to mention that. Meaning you get 2 weeks worth of disease. And that's it. B, C, and D are going to give you chronic diseases, especially B and C. B and C are transmitted through pretty much everything. It is way easier to contract hepatitis than it is to contract anything else in the world. So you gotta be careful. You have to treat every single one of your patients as if they had all of them combined. What?
Are the A and E viruses the ones without the code?
No. Yes, without the code. Exactly. Without the code. Exactly. And that's good. That's a good one. They're gonna teach you in the microbiology class that the coded viruses, that they have a phospholipid layer on the outside, they're not, they don't like the acid and they die when they go inside the stomach. But then, if you don't have the code, you can go into the stomach and just keep going like nothing ever happened. The guy who discovered hepatitis E, actually, you know, the endemic area is like, what was it? Thailand, I think it is. And what he did, he made like a yogurt with the virus, and he drank it, and he took it from Thailand to England, and then he was able to study it over there. Hepatitis E has, the interesting thing about hepatitis E is that it has a very high mortality rate among pregnant women. It's like a 20% mortality rate among pregnant women. Super interesting. What else is good here? Hepatitis B and C, super contagious again. Needles, blood products, saliva, semen, urine, everything that comes out of the human being is going to have hepatitis. Hepatitis D is an incomplete, messed up virus. In order for you to get hepatitis D, you need to have hepatitis B first. And then you get a super infection with hepatitis D, and the hepatitis D finishes the job, and then you go bye-bye. Really cute stuff. Now, the anorexia nervosa, that's the one that you don't eat.
Yes.
And which one is the other one? The bulimia, the one that you like. These is crazy people that they look at the mirror and they're like, I'm so fat. I freaking life. And yes, we're gonna have a quiz next week about this stuff. Any questions?
About which stuff? Which stuff? The GI tract and the liver? Just the GI
tract? Yeah. What? Physiology stuff.